I don't do intros. How you guys doing today? I'm doing pretty good today. Today I have something a little exciting I've been cooking up for a while here. It is a level 200 madness build. And I just want to talk about a few things. If you're interested in the stats and equipment and spells and all that shit, the level, that'll be at the end of the video. If you just want to check out some invasions, I hope you stay tuned for the entire video. Um, that being said, I hope you guys also consider subscribing and hitting the like button and all that fun stuff. Anyway, if I sound a little bit different, it's because I got a new microphone as a birthday gift, an early birthday gift, and just let me know how it sounds. For now, though, I want to talk about something that's been kind of very recent on the Elden Ring PvP scene, and that is the level 200 meta that is now like kind of come through for invasions now. This is very interesting to me because if you know the history of Elden Ring PvP from when it first launched and to where it is now, it seemed like no one really could figure out like the perfect circumstances for it. And I think we have. I think we finally have. I think level 200 is the best invasion meta. That's what I think. And I'll go through a bunch of reasons, but first I want to go through the history of invasions and whatnot like that. Invasions and indulls and stuff like that. So when the game first came out, excuse me, when the game first came out, everyone kind of stopped and started PvPing like where the game left them off at, which is what I did. I finished the game at level 140, and then I started dueling at level 140, and then eventually I went up to 150. But a lot of other people, finished the game, then started a new character, and then, they got up to level 120, and that's what they used for their PvP build. The level 120 to 150 meta has been in Souls games for as long as, like, Souls games have been a thing. It started way back in Demon Souls, a little community of PvPers and duelers and invaders, just a tiny little community. They decided that level 120 and 125 and stuff like that was like the best that you could do for PvP. It gives you like the stats that you want and doesn't make you too overpowered and stuff like that, right? And it probably didn't take that long to get to 120 in PvP for Demon Souls. And it kind of stayed that way for every Souls game. Was like around that, like that was like around the meta. And it didn't really start picking up until, I personally think, in my opinion, it didn't really start picking up the PvP scene, that is, until about Dark Souls 3. Bloodborne, as much as I love Bloodborne, not many people liked PvP in that game. But the meta for that game was around 120. Dark Souls 2, a lot of people praise Dark Souls 2 for having like the best PvP. And I'm not really sure what the level gauge was in there. I wasn't around for Dark Souls 2's life cycle. I came in around Bloodborne. But I imagine that it was probably around 120 to 150. Even though that game is really long and you probably go like way above that when you finish the game. Again, inform me if I don't know much about Dark Souls 2. Just inform me. Dark Souls 3, for me, I think my overall character was, my dueling character that is, was around 160. But I think I did start around 120, then got up to 150, then went to 160, and it worked pretty good for me back in Dark Souls 3. Never did invasions back then. Was not a big invader guy back in Dark Souls 3. But that's where I feel the game really got its the games, that is, the Souls games, really got their PvP shape was in Dark Souls 3. I mean, they had like an entire like level that was like almost dedicated to PvP. That was the Pontiff area. I mean, it wasn't really dedicated to PvP, but that's just the players made it like that, and I loved it. The fight clubs were so fun. There was like an invader covenant that was in that area. It was great. I loved it. I wish Elden Ring had like a gang city like that. And I also wish it had more people per world too, but you know, hopefully they get around to that soon. They have been doing stuff for invaders, like the Wex Dust invasions. It's fucking great. But that being said, when Elden Ring released, I'm pretty sure a lot of people ended like around 150, 140, and they started dueling around that level, maybe a little bit lower, 120. They also started invading around that level, and very quickly it was kind of discovered that that's not the best range to invade people at. You just don't get a whole lot of activity. So some theory crafting happened, and people started invading around level 70. Level 70 with +7 somber weapons and +17 smithing weapons. And that worked for like a couple months. You got a lot of activity. You still do get a lot of activity around that level. But the problem with level 70 and level 90 invasions is that they're around the mid-game area and not so much in the late-game area. Like, you're going to be invading Lindell a whole lot, maybe Mountaintops of the Giants, maybe. Never in Fair Missoula ever. And, sorry, I was pacing around my room while I was talking. So, you're going to be invading, like, hosts that are around your level, right? But the major problem with Elden Ring, for every invasion and every level, is that people are summoning their max level friends, and Elden Ring has really bad downscaling. So, like, they're still, like, too tanky for you to kill at that level. They're still, like, you know, your build's not fleshed out. Their stats are maxed, and they're just, you know, they're a little too hard to kill, and they make your life a living hell, and that's fine. And it feels really good when you're able to kill them. I've fought in entire teams of people that are like way over leveled. I've fought in people that are like, you know, they have like a level 50 host and 2 summons that are level 700 and a fucking hunter that comes in level 700. So I'm not sure hunters can come into that level, but you get the point. I've took down entire groups like that. It's not fun. It's a little too sweaty. Personally, I don't really like invading those kind of players. At least not when I have a disadvantage of being a super low level to their higher level, right? So then some people started theory crafting some more, and it was theorized by somebody. I'm not sure who. Somebody decided, hey, why don't we go up to level 200 and just invade there and just see what kind of activity we get? And there's a lot of different advantages that you get from invading at level 200. The first advantage is that your build is actually complete at level 200. You can, if you guys didn't know, how the stats work in Elden Ring is like mind and vigor, they go up to level 60. And then they start soft capping and hard capping and all that fun stuff. They go up that high. That's extremely high for a stat. Back in the other games, 50 was like, if you had 50, you were good. You didn't really want much more than 50. I'm not really sure about endurance, so I'm not going to talk about endurance. But mind and vitality, they go all the way up to 60 before they start dropping off quite a bit. And then your damage stats, which is strength, intelligence, faith, and arcane, they can scale all the way up to 80 pretty well. Then after that, they drop off. That is the highest amount of like points in any game that From Software has made. That besides Bloodborne with 99 arcane, but sorry guys, my mic actually died there while I was recording. That's insane. I've never actually owned a wireless mic before, so that's actually kind of new to me that something like that could happen. But yeah, so in Bloodborne you can scale all the way up to 99 arcane, but in Elden Ring every damage stat scales all the way up to 80. And So that means if you're invading at a low level, right? Your damage stat, you're never gonna prioritize your damage stat over your health. You should never do that. Please, everyone who's listening to me right now, please prioritize your health over your damage stat if you're gonna do invasions, because your health is your most important resource while you're invading. You have to be able to tank anything anyone throws at you at all times. With that being said, at level 200, you can have 60 vigor and 80 of a damage stat, and a lot more points to do whatever the hell you want with. You can have like 50 endurance and wear really, really heavy armor, have tons of poise, or you can put all your points in something else. For me, I took, I think I have 75 faith, something like that. And then I put 50 points into dex. Now the reason why I did that is because, and this is for every spellcaster, if you have 50 points of dex, that's the max cast speed for your spells you could have. So if you have that, you don't need to wear Radagon's icon. And you know, that frees you up another talisman slot. So that's kind of why I did that. Also 50 dex, which is, there's a lot of weapons that scale with dex. So, and I think I have 24 strength on this build. Just to be able to use like any kind of like moderately heavy weapon, not something like the giant crusher or anything like that. But so yeah, you get a lot more flexibility with your build, and your build is actually complete whenever you you know, you make this build. Now the problem with level 200 is that it does take a long time to get to level 200. But there's a lot more pros than there is cons. For example, whenever you invade, you don't ever, at least me personally, I don't really like invading gankers. People who just kind of sit by their grace or whatever, or just some area, and there's 3 of them, and then they also have a hunter's call in, and then they get 1 invader, and then they turn off the taunter's tongue. Like, I actually hate that. Personally, I actually hate that. But the pros of level 200 is that a lot of the time when you invade people at level 200, you're not invading gankers, you're invading actual co-opers who have already beat the game once or twice, right? They're an NG plus 1, and they're just playing through the game with their friend. You know, just playing the game again. And it doesn't really matter if their friend is a max level phantom, because you have 200 levels to play with. So your damage stat is not going to be worse than theirs by a big margin. And your health stat is not going to be worse than theirs by a big margin as well. So like level 200 just has a lot of advantages to it. And I'm glad that this kind of level 200 invasion meta kind of exists now. And of course, you could still invade at low levels. I make low level invasion builds all the time for, like, you know, I've done level 20 builds, I've done level 40 builds, I've done level 60, level 70. I've done it all. I've done every range of invasion builds you could possibly think of. And right now, my favorite is level 200. I have 2 characters sitting at level 200 right now. I have this Faith character, who is he's a crazy guy with a pumpkin head, and I have a mage build that is at level 200 that I'm probably going to be showcasing in the next video once I get some more footage for that. That being said, guys, we're nearing the end of the video here, and we're just kind of I'm just kind of spamming Vike Spear on this guy, even though I have no FP. This guy was extremely tanky, by the way. I'm pretty sure it's because he had some kind of barrier against my my Faith build. But you know, Dung Eater with straight swords. Look how much damage I'm doing. Oh, he got madness. I should not have R2'd him there, but I did. And then he dies anyway. Excuse me. Anyway, guys, that's the build. Here's the stats and everything like that. I hope you guys consider subscribing if you like this kind of content, like this kind of build content, like PvP, invasions, duels, all that kind of fun stuff. With that being said, guys, take care and peace out.